yeah. No sé si tu boca está besando a otra. En estos momentos, en estos momentos. Y no sé si tus ojos ya se olvidaron de mí y los pensamientos se fueron con el tiempo. Y me pregunto qué hubiera pasado si estuviésemos juntos, aún enamorados. Y me pregunto qué hubiera pasado si estuviésemos juntos, aún enamorados. Yeah, yeah. Todavía yo te espero, aunque yo sé que tú no vas a volver. Todavía yo te quiero, aunque yo sé que eso me puede joder. Y tengo tu foto guardada, tú y yo bailando cuando éramos menores de edad. Te digo la verdad, te extraño el 14 y en la Navidad. Y los polvos en la parte posterior del carro para los tiempos en la superior. Siempre dejaba ropa interior, cada polvo mejor que el anterior, pero no como el primero. Tú sabes que ese no se va a borrar. Ahora me paso en el putero, yeah. A otra persona no he podido amar, y te juro que lo he tratado, pero es que ninguno se te para al lado. Desde que te fuiste he sido trastornado, escuchándome hasta el piso, baby, me siento down. Si no tengo de tu piel, down. Tú tengo y de la no la de Chris Brown. El cerebro dando vueltas lo tengo mareado, cada cual por su lado, yeah. Y me pregunto qué hubiera pasado si estuviésemos juntos, aún enamorados. Y me pregunto qué hubiera pasado si estuviésemos juntos, aún enamorados, yeah. shortcut to a dream. It's our blood and sweat, and life is what you manage in between. But what you don't know is you're too young and eager to love. Stealing, I see you're about to get into the ditch that you man dug.
All right, what's up, guys? How we doing? All right, let me get everything here. Make sure that the live stream is functioning the way it's supposed to. Morning. Definitely seems like it's having some struggles today. One second, guys. All right, let's see here. How you guys doing? Let me know if you hear me loud and clear. Should be good to go. GM. Let's see what the lag looks like right now as well. I'm running, so right now I'm running a Windows on top of everything else. So it's looking like it might be a little bit too much to handle at the moment. So let me close out a couple things here. Make sure this is smooth. All right, so what's up, y'all? I see. What's up, Corey? Good afternoon. Puck. First time here with you on your own platform. We've been following you now for 2.5 years. Excited what this will bring. Welcome. We've been having a pretty good time out here. We've been chilling. Streaming on our own over here. A lot of you are just super plugged into the Tradetopia community, totally for free. So having you guys here, just honestly having a good time. Going through tons of courses, free courses that we have here in the community has been awesome. We've been plugging in a ton of videos from the past, making new, just new stuff for free for you guys. So yeah, I mean, it's our pleasure to be able to serve and give you guys more to improve with. So 100% happy to have you guys all here. Alright, I might have to go no camera today. And that's fine, to be honest. Alright, here we go. Okay, so let me know in the chat, what you guys have your mind on today, what you're looking at, what the setups are. I'm going to be going over indices for sure. I see potential setup with Australian dollar as well, so I'll be diving into that. We'll be looking at some metals, a little bit of what to expect here with crypto as well. So yeah, let's dive into everything here. Okay. Can hear me? Beautiful, loud and clear. All right, so welcome everyone. And as you guys know, I do the stream without monetization, just to make sure you guys don't get random ads when when it's exactly the time to execute and everything like that. So yeah, it's important for me to make sure you guys have a pretty streamlined process. So hopefully you guys enjoy. We get some value out of this. We had some just classic setups on Friday. So hopefully Thursday and Friday, even though I wasn't able to spend time with you guys here on Friday, you were able to make the most out of that. So yeah, if you do want to join the community, which is absolutely free here, and yeah, here's a link, free community. We'll skip it with the music. Okay. Yeah. All right, should be good to go. Welcome everyone. What's up, Jonas, Michael, Brandon, Linda? We got Justina, AB. What's good, man? David, Omar. ¿Dónde está toda mi gente aquí? Habla español. To the syndicate, welcome. I expect flawless execution, process-based trading. Let's get it. Vincent, Brenda, Carlos, Lani. We got Seth in here, Luis, Kaz, Linda, Rodrigo. Each trade is independent of itself within the total probability. One does not determine success or failure. Only the execution of the probability within the system does. 100%. Let's go. Greg, let's see if this is a lucky mug, all right? What broker is the best for open orders? I don't exactly know what that means. For like limits? I feel like you're talking about limits, but we'll see. All right, so I'm gonna start a bit zoomed out with indices, and then we'll kind of go and work our way in. And so I appreciate all of you guys that liked the channel, subscribe, do all that good stuff. I know a lot of you guys have also been sharing this with your just whatever traders. As you guys know, I give away for free what most people charge for. So let's get after it. Make sure people are dialed in. So looking at this, and we do have dollar news in 45 minutes, 43 minutes now. And on top of that, we'll have New York open in 13. So we want to make sure we'll tackle on indices first, since we're going to get some volatility here in just a few minutes. But after we get all of that. Screen is frozen. It shouldn't be. Screen frozen. Alright. It's lagging. Video, no bueno. Let's see. Okay. Let me know if it catches up. And if it's not frozen anymore, then also let me know. Estamos activos. Hola. Seems like we are very much behind on the stream. Yeah, okay. Weird. Why is my question? What to do, Alright, give me 1 second, guys. Glitch in the matrix, apparently. Let's see if Tradetopia here is patient enough to wait and see what is going on here. Let me see if I can switch this up. Alright, here we go. Legit. Now it's good. Trading is so quickly other than this community. There's nowhere like it. I love that, man. Appreciate it. Alright, cool. I think we're set now. Let me know. It looks like what the lag is here. It looks like today it's really, really awful. And I actually understand why. So here we go. Okay. All right, so should be set. So here, if you take a look right now, and I'm saying this, it's at 8:21:19. So let me know what the lag is on your end, and then I can make sure we're on the right path. But all right, anyways, besides the point, now it looks like we're doing okay. So on the 4 hour here, when we're looking at the market, what I'm looking at is the following. Right now, last Friday on the 23rd, when we worked our way down, right, we rebalanced completely here with Dow, and throughout the last week or so, we've seen price get below, rebalance here, and then work its way higher. And so we've seen the market wick down time and time again. We've seen price work its way to these levels, and Maya's running away from the harness. She's not trying to get on this harness. So right now, if you see that, we keep wicking down, and then when the market goes up to here, it's failing to also create higher highs. So the demand here is pretty unstable. Like, we're not getting confirmations that the market is trading and maintaining these levels. So just like how it's failing to stay below, and there's very little demand below 42,000, it's also really struggling to stay above 42,300 as well. So with that being said, what I want to see is I want to get confirmation that we're going to stay bullish. So when we use this in 2-minute lag, that's insane. Okay, yeah, that's really terrible. So, all right, I really got to get ahead of it. Okay, well, guys, the time has come. Your boy's gonna make a nice little trip to the Apple store. So, anyways, with this working the way that it's moving, I want to get absolute confirmation if we're gonna do any sort of swing trading that we're getting these higher highs. And when we look at NASDAQ here, NASDAQ breaks below all, just a week's worth of retail buyers, and it fills this imbalance. However, when it makes its way to the upside, it fails to give us bullish confirmation. It fails to trade the way that, in my opinion, would just give us full confirmation for a bullish trade. So if we're not getting that, then there's really, we're assuming that we're going to keep trading bullish instead of just doing things in the right way. Craig says 3 minutes. That's insane. I wonder why this has been so inconsistent. Alright, let's do this here. 1 second, guys. Alright, one sec. Okay. Yeah, I appreciate you guys having patience while today's stream is just going bonkers. Which is weird, like in Colombia, I was having an easier time than I'm having now. So I don't really know what it is. Today I'm trying to run the Windows software so I can trade on my Apex account at the same time, and I think that is what's giving the issues to this right now, to be honest. Okay. Gotcha on my phone with better lag. Okay, so yeah, maybe guys try going mobile. That'll help, at least for today's session. As we see, and if it starts to chop up a lot again, then just guys let me know. Otherwise, I might have to just reset the stream and then kick it off again. So anyways, with NASDAQ here, because we're seeing a bit of a rebalance, but then the market failing to give us higher highs, I think we can still go our way back down and either trade into this push down here or maybe even into this imbalance. So I am curious about buys down in this level here, whether it's with NASDAQ, Dow, just kind of depending on kind of what works its way over here. Obviously, we have this massive sell-off that could still give us a mitigation. And then same thing with S&P 500. S&P here, it's yet to get down to this area, and it definitely hasn't worked its way down to this zone. So S&P, out of actually all the indices, S&P has had the least aggressive move to the downside. So I think we could see the market either trading within this zone or trading within this zone. This would be basically closing off a massive sell-off and then rebalancing. In this example, it would be either mitigating this and rebalancing and then making the move. We reacting to that 1 hour failure gap, injecting with another failure gap that gets us a 1 hour CISD bullish on NQ. Well, I wish you the best with that, my friend. So personally, I don't think we're quite bullish yet, and definitely of all of these at the moment, and it's not to say that we can't go higher. I'm not convinced yet. I don't have my confirmation to make any long-term buys. Right now on basically every single perspective and every time frame, we're still relatively bearish. Could we go a little bit higher to trade into this range, 21,375? I think that's a possibility. Yeah, I think we could see that maybe a bit more likely. But outside of that, I mean, if you take a look at more than anything, we're seeing a loss of demand every time we're in these zones. So I want to see what price action looks like today between Dow, between NASDAQ. At the moment, I'm looking at price action here, and right now we're seeing bearish price action with Dow. So we've seen this actually push further and further down on the 5 minute to 15 today relative to NASDAQ. That's been pretty stable. So I'm gonna go split screen here. Gonna have Dow on the right, NASDAQ on the left, and let's see what price action looks like here for the open for today. So like I'm saying, for me, for swinging any trades, I'm not totally convinced, but if it comes down to some intraday price action, that's a different story. So right now what we're seeing based off of London, right? London gave us a low over here. So as you can see, you see a nice sell-off here with NASDAQ, and then right now we're getting more bullish price action. So if we get, let's say, some confirmation that we keep trading above these highs, which we did briefly here, a bit more here, to me, it looks like we can still see a mitigation of this huge push down. So during London session, we picked up quite a bit of momentum right over here. You see the market drop about 100 points before the market starts to pump. So right now, in the current price action that we're seeing, NASDAQ definitely picking up quite a bit of momentum. So if we have, for example, just confirmation of NASDAQ actually continuing to trade over here, then yeah, I think we could see some buys. I would probably stick to intraday buys rather than kind of forcing the market to give us new highs. Now, if we do see higher highs, so let's say we see NASDAQ keep trading higher, then that's a different story. Then we can shift our bias completely. And here with Dow, yeah, you trade intraday? Cool. Now with Dow over here, you're seeing Dow is struggling to trade higher. Current price action is showing us that it's really struggling to be kind of quote unquote the bull for the day. And so this big move that we saw on Friday, right to end as the day was wrapping up, and then it loses momentum, what we may end up seeing is that we may end up seeing the Dow Jones want to sell out of this area. We see a huge sweep above the highs. This clears out Fridays and Thursdays retail sellers, comes into some imbalance. Obviously, there's more imbalance over here as well. And then this makes its way down. The only downside to looking for sells with something like this, so for example, let's have here NASDAQ on the left side, Dow on the right side, and I'll pull up S&P here in a second. The only downside to this is that when the market was working its way down, it also struggled to confirm lower lows. So we don't really have a confirmation that we're bearish on the 1 hour. So could this play out within the range? I think that has a pretty good chance. But to go for the lower low right away, I think we are kind of getting ahead of ourselves. So a setup like this, where we're seeing NASDAQ really, really strongly pushing ahead, I wouldn't be surprised if NASDAQ clears out Friday's highs and then make it into Thursday's, clearing out Thursday's price action as well until we get into this imbalance. So right now, I think the first target for NASDAQ is going to be clearing Friday's highs and at least I would say Thursdays as well. Getting into this range seems like the first move. This buy is going to make way more sense if we see if there's just demand that's truly trading over here. Then yeah, sure, we can shift perspective, and now we have way higher levels of confirmation. What's up, Diesel? What's good, brother? So let's wait that out, and then here we can take a look at S&P 500 as well. And when we look at S&P moving, kind of like as usual, the middle child between NASDAQ and Dow Jones. S&P here already starting to push into this big movement. I wouldn't look to short NASDAQ, and I wouldn't look to short S&P 500. S&P is also pushing along pretty strongly here. So seeing this move beyond the equal highs over here, the Friday and Thursday's New York session price action, I think at least NASDAQ should be looking to clear that. Now, if I'm thinking, okay, well, if this is going to keep going higher, Mike, why wouldn't you buy right now? Well, what we don't know is, what if it wants to drop first? We don't know. So I want confirmation. What we don't want to do, remember, at any time, is don't fall into your own trap of assumptions of, oh, I have to be right. You gotta be really diligent with that. So looking at price action now, seeing how Dow is definitely not moving with the same velocity or intensity as NASDAQ is. It's got tons of liquidity to sweep, including all of London session, Asian session, and playing into price action over here. If we look at how the market traded on Friday, we see from here we start to pick up quite a bit of momentum. Price gets actually pretty efficient over here, up and down and up and down and up. So getting into this area, I think I'm open to selling Dow. However, I'm gonna use NASDAQ's price action to kind of narrow down my entry here. So I want to see NASDAQ clear quite a bit of these highs before I even consider selling Dow. That's what I want to see. I want to see maybe, Dow get into the 42,300, maybe even higher. So what we're going to do, at least what I'm going to do, and obviously you guys can do whatever you want, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait. So I'm going to have NASDAQ clear these highs at least and kind of see where this brings us with Dow. Is it just me, or the trading view chart is 9 minutes off with sync with the regular clock? It might be. Let me see here. 9 minutes. It might just be my lag, to be honest. So I might just be lagging like crazy. And if that's the case, then, you know, my apologies. But make sure you guys are looking at your charts, your numbers. If you see a massive difference here, try resetting also your stream. In the meantime as well, if you guys want to communicate real time, then in the free community, which I have pinned here up top, you guys can be in there as well. Make sure you're chopping it up, staying on top of everything, and just look at the massive difference. Look at how bullish NASDAQ has been. So we never want to get in front of the leading bull here. That's the last thing we want to do. So, okay, now take a look at this. What we're seeing here is that NQ now is successfully clearing liquidity up top. Dow here is making its move slowly into the upside over here. All right, slowly moving its way up. So, like I mentioned, when it clears these Thursdays zones for New York session, once we get, because here's where we had all this back and forth and back and forth. I think getting into this imbalance and Dow pulling into this zone is where we're going to have successful entries here with Dow. The fact that Dow's price has been so suppressed is actually pretty impressive. So I definitely feel way more confident in Dow sells just looking at how things are moving along here. So look at this. We're almost at the point where we're clearing. This is Thursday is the second half of New York session, and then this is right after New York Open. So I think getting near this New York Open imbalance from Thursday, May 29th with NASDAQ, I think that would be clearing several higher highs, and that could be positioning Dow over here for sells. So even if you missed out on this giant move, which I'm not in this or anything, but what you don't want is to chase. Oh, I missed such a big move, and then you either chase the buy or now you're trying to pin the top. But if you are going to sell anything, just do what fits your plan. If right now there's just no green light for you to trade, that's okay. That's totally okay. The last thing you want to do is have your emotions pull the trigger for you. It's Monday. We're in like our 10 minutes into New York Open on a Monday. You have all week to find quality opportunities. So no reason for us to make any hasty decisions. In 20 minutes, we're also going to see dollar news. So I'll definitely be going over some USD setups as well. So in the meantime, I'll keep my eye out on this, and what I'm going to do is, now that we don't necessarily have to have our eyes on this super vigilantly, let me go ahead and look at some majors here. So let's go take a look at that, and let me know, guys, what pairs, what currencies, what futures, what do you guys want me to look at here? What's on your mind? Cool. Hey, I appreciate you guys here showing love in the chat, on the channel. Y'all are plugging in here, subscribing. And let me know what more you guys would want to see. I know I haven't been uploading long form videos, which I think are the most useful directly to the channel. I've been focusing a lot more inside the community, but definitely a lot more coming your way here shortly. So much love, guys. Okay, so with Australian, right now what we're seeing is we're kind of seeing a build-up. So we got a nice mitigation of this big move up here. So you got a nice reaction here, good 30 pip drop or so. I know some of you, I think, were trading this. So maybe you got 2R, give or take. And then right now we're kind of seeing, more than anything, consolidation. Now we're seeing consolidation here. And so when you see the market move sideways like this, what happens is this is building up sellers and buyers. So I'm not necessarily too focused on trading inside of this. I definitely want to see sells up here. So we see a big sweep of liquidity over here. Zoom out a bit. So this clears out a lot of this higher time frame highs. So we see that get swept. The market drops. So we see a very nice bearish push down. We build up more liquidity. So there's definitely incentive for buyers to get locked in over and over and over again over here. So at some point we're going to come back and we're going to sweep this up. Doesn't necessarily have to be right now per se, but at some point we'll get back down here. And when we compare AUD/USD to NZD, Euro, only really GBP/USD is moving as slowly to the upside as AUD/USD. So when it comes to selling, I always look to short the setup that's kind of slowest to move to the upside. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on here with the Australian dollar. This is the kind of setup that looks good to me, and I'll go ahead and share this with you all in the Intradetopia exchange. So we'll dive into that over there. Let me make sure the stream's still flowing decent. Gold pushing up to the sell zone. Okay. Perfect. Oh, just like that. Got the alert here. Now, let me make sure that this is looking solid over here. So gold as well, right? With gold, we saw a big jump, the sweep of the high, and then the drop. So if I'm on the right contract, which it looks like I am, then we should really be seeing an opportunity to short gold over here as well. So not too far away. Right over here. Here we had tons of liquidity. You see a massive pump up here. This is during Asian session. Sweeps liquidity, rebalances, and then melts away without really mitigating. So for us to see price come into this zone, I think we can get excellent sells. And honestly, I think it can push up significantly more. I'd say up into this range over here before we're actually shorting. So gonna be looking at taking a position a bit higher. I'd say once we start to get to at least this area, maybe even higher here, is where we have a pretty good chance at taking sells. Wednesday, May 7th, gold did have a contract change. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure this is now the shift in the contract swap. We'll be good to go from here. So waiting on this here. All right. Dow has just been kind of chopping up and down as well, so not quite sweeping the liquidity that I want to see quite yet. So okay, that's what we got right now with. All right, so something like this is what I'm looking for. And y'all keep me up to date with the stream quality. Make sure it's not dropping too much or anything like that. Alright, let's see. USD JPY. Let's take a look here. USD JPY did get to our zone here that we were waiting for before any reversals. So there was a sell-off over here. We see the market start to push on up. So it worked its way up actually pretty aggressively before it lost all this steam over here. So we move on up. When the market lost its momentum, and I showed this here on a couple days ago, I don't love how quickly we went up and down. So I actually think we're still bearish more than we are bullish. Maybe we get the bounce here to get back up into this range. That's definitely a possibility. I don't think it's mitigated quite yet. I think we could still push higher. Maybe it drops into the zone again before it goes. But either way, I think we could see it go here and then finally get our reversal. Something like this is still a possibility. This is very clearly, in my opinion, a sign of big buy positions coming in, but just to liquidate sellers and lure in buyers, not necessarily to induce anything else. About 1:30. Okay. So I'll still continue to wait on for this idea here. I think we could see something like this. Is anyone in this USD JPY buy? I was waiting a little lower for an entry, so I'm not in this yet. What do you guys got? At the moment, we're seeing this happen. So this is really curious to me. So we can come back to this, and then we talked about gold getting into the range right now. We're looking at the contract switch, so it's got a bit more that it can go up before it makes the move. But what I want to talk about though is not indices anymore. I want to talk about what we're seeing here. So look at how we're seeing Dow start to push down. So Dow is definitely very bearish. But what's interesting is NQ. NQ now, just like I talked about, right? Swept the liquidity up here. It got into Thursday's last push up before it drops. So right now we're starting to see NQ dropping. So what does this tell us about price action with NASDAQ? Is NASDAQ bullish, or is it that NASDAQ needed to sweep liquidity? Right, we had all of this. Okay, all of this is just liquidity, all in that range. So you have retail sellers get bodied, just crushed over here. You get them crushed, goodbye. Now we see the move down. So there's two scenarios that can happen here. Whenever the market comes back up, I want to know, what's it going to be? Are we going to see the sweep of the high one more time and then the move? So are we going to see this and then another sell-off? Are we going to see the market, and then at what pace? So is it going to be NQ that just does a little pullback and then drops more? Or are we going to go even higher again? So I'm curious. Right now, I'm going to be patient and have perspective with both. I decided to stay out of shorting Dow even though it was struggling so much to break through. While it was trading over here, for me, it seemed like there was a very high likelihood of Dow sweeping all of this before selling off like it's doing right now. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm totally at peace with missing out on this drop right now. That's not a problem for me. What I think we could see right now as well is we might just see this is now, coming back to fill the New York Open. So does NASDAQ get below New York Open here and trade out of somewhere in here? Yeah, there's a chance. There's a chance we see NQ decide to play out of this area. And then S&P 500 getting below. So we're definitely seeing Dow, S&P go very low. Right now, Dow Jones has successfully cleared liquidity here. Looks like it's rebalancing at the moment. All right, nice, very nice. We're seeing NQ into this imbalance. There is a chance that NQ is just looking to rebalance, and then considering that now Dow has done all of this, I think that Dow Jones getting below London session lows here, I think we could see this break below to sweep all of these lows from last week as well, just like I mentioned in the beginning of the stream. So I'm going to set an alert here. I want to see if it happens this way, what the priority is going to be. If it's just sweep liquidity and imbalance and then it goes, I think the high probability would be for NQ, and like I said, it could bounce out of here. I like the highest probability setups, so I'd rather see it get below New York Open here, get below New York Open, and then see NASDAQ go higher. So something like this. But the initial target is the liquidity that we had here and the imbalance there. So you see how we see it drop and then now start to push. So this is kind of the initial movement. So taking a position, let's say a long from here, I think it's still a bit risky. I wouldn't take it with Dow. I would not be buying Dow right now. No chance. But seeing the way Dow is pushing those lows, I think it's going to keep crashing below, get below these lows. That should push NASDAQ below New York Open as well. And then I think from there you can see much better, way higher chances for a short-term intraday buying position. Right now we're getting the rebalance of that New York Open. So like I mentioned, something like here, there is a chance that it can trade out of this zone because we're seeing Dow, like we're seeing here, right? Dow is losing momentum. It did its job, it liquidated, it rebalanced. So for NQ to want to push from here, I could see it, right? This is not the textbook mitigation. This is like a fair value gap imbalance type of play. It's a very different type of trading. It's still understanding smart money principles, absolutely, but it's no longer like the maybe textbook mitigation setup that you may be used to. So does it really make sense for you to take a trade that you don't really understand? Probably not, right? So I wouldn't necessarily force myself to take a trade that you don't fully understand. But what I want to do is have you guys understand contextually, okay, what are these movements? What's the purpose behind these type of trades? How do I better understand the motivation behind liquidity and balance, how these markets or how these indices kind of move in unison in order to trade more effectively. So that's kind of my take on what we're seeing right now in the market. I think I wouldn't necessarily say we have to really force any behaviors here. you know, like if you guys want to take something light, feel free. I think NQ would be the one to run from here. And right now what we're seeing is a good indication of the market rebalancing. Let's say like one of these setups, I could definitely see something like this. But again, this is trading an imbalance. This is you assuming that, okay, is Dow Jones now ready to make its move to the upside? So take a look at this, right? You've seen Dow liquidate these lows. It's playing into this imbalance over here. Okay. So what's the move? You're seeing price action hold pretty well. So if it can move from here, again, I see the possibilities, but I would not force it, guys. I would not force it. Alright, let's see, taking a look here. 1 second here, everybody. Looking at my accounts over here, and my question is, why is this not making any decisions? One second now. My stuff looks frozen over here. Looks like I gotta reset this thing. So look at how Dow is dropping, but NQ is holding up pretty well. And then remember, you're going to see news events, you're going to see volatility right now. So expect more volatility to the upside here, or just volatility in general with these. So now we've seen Dow clear below those lows, as I talked about. Here you go. Let me show you guys here real quick. So now we're seeing Dow clear below, probably push a little bit further down, to be honest. And then now we're seeing NASDAQ here. I think, like I said, it's going to get below these NQ lows. And then from here, we can see this start to rip a bit more aggressively. Log in over here. This was like the worst time for this to like not work for me. All right, so check this out. Now that we're seeing the sweep below these lows, from here you have a higher conviction play, especially because now Dow has swept a decent amount. So this is looking for the mitigation of this big sell-off. Now it's playing under New York Open. From here, I think we can see some more aggressive movement. All right, Ninja Trader. Anytime now, buddy. Anytime now would be fantastic. So look at the difference in price action right now between NQ and Dow. Now Dow has swept the liquidity, swept the lows, perfect. NQ here, stable. So I am in a buy on NQ right here. And then right now we're starting to see this rip here. All right, there we go. Nice. Anyone take this buy at these lows? A big thing as well here is we had about 100-point drop So I want to see this give us a mitigation of at least 100 points. To see us get to like right around here, yeah, it would be pretty solid. Yeah, if I'm gonna trade with Windows and Mac at the same time on the same thing, I definitely can't do it on Mac, bro. I need more power. Close that out. Connections. Anyone here use like Replicanto, NinjaTrader, all that good stuff? Alright, we're starting to see it rip on NinjaTrader here. Or not NinjaTrader, on NASDAQ. Question is, did this duplicate my trade the way it was supposed to or not? Looking at this here, looks like didn't. Damn, that's unfortunate. Did it? Hold on. Sorry guys, I appreciate you guys. Obviously I am also trading with you guys, so when I have malfunctions on my end, yeah, you know, it's not the best. It's not the best. So let's see here. You guys are seeing real time the downside of streaming and trading and managing setups and communicating all at once. So I'm just pulling up my stuff here. Let's see, is anything active? No, it is not. Okay, then that's square. That's all good. All right, so right now with NQ, with this position, we got a nice movement, right? So the market moved pretty well, about 70 points down. Now it's working its way, a little bit of a pullback here. So the question is this set up to go, right? Is this going to continue? Is this pullback to just basically, basically rebalance and then let the market rip again? I think so. I don't think we've fully mitigated yet, so I'm definitely open to just letting this trade roll out.
Order submitted.
Okay, let's see.
Order filled.
My question is, why is this not going through? Well, you guys are seeing real time Mike Nav struggling to take a trade. Oh, okay, I see.
Order submitted.
Here we go.
Order filled.
Alright. Yeah, I appreciate you guys being patient with me too. Alright, where are we at?
Order
Order
filled.
filled.
No.
Order filled.
No. You guys are just like.
Order
Oh,
filled.
here we go. Okay. Finally. All right. So I was able to actually get in my order right around here on my Apex accounts, and then let's see where we get to here, and see this roll through. It looks like I caught it just in time to see this. See if we continue to mitigate and work our way up a bit more. So mitigation looks very clean. Price action spent very little time here, so that's looking very solid. If we go over and take a look at Dow, now we're seeing Dow as well swept the liquidity on, below all of this, as I talked about right in the beginning of the session, that we could get below liquidity before targeting anything else. The targets for the market here, honestly, this liquidity, I think Dow should be pushing towards this liquidity. The first high probability exit for the market to just keep pushing forward with would be just filling in balance on Dow, and for NASDAQ to continue to push into this imbalance as well. So this would kind of be the initial exits if you're looking to take profit on NASDAQ with this. So if you're looking to do that over here, that is, to me, is a high probability exit in comparison and utilizing the correlation with Dow. At this point, we basically have seen the reversal, the mitigation for NASDAQ, right? A big move to the upside here. It looks like about 95 points we've gotten so far. The drop we saw was basically about 100. So it looks like the money came in here. And then S&P also getting below, balance, filling. Looks relatively solid right now. Okay, all right, let me get into the chat here. I've neglected you guys for a hot second. Yeah, you guys probably heard order filled. I didn't. So yeah, I think you guys heard it. I did not. But it was like lagging on my end, so I definitely need to figure out what the fuck is going on over here. Because it took a couple. It wasn't copying over. Initially, it just wasn't working. Then it didn't copy over, so I needed to close them, and then I finally got it to go through. But okay, so got a decent move to the upside. We are starting to see a little bit of a pullback here, and then from here, you see how we have some levels of resistance in the past. We might be able to bounce out of here and then continue to run. And taking a look at Dow, Dow's holding this structure pretty well as well, and we have pretty good signs that there's very little bit of demand over here. Entonces, what's up, Bavik? What's good, my G? This is not well, NQ was a mitigation setup with the addition of Dow Jones sweeping external liquidity. So because Dow was doing what it was doing with liquidity over there, and NQ was pulling back into this sell-off from London, and we saw the divergence, right? NQ was giving us higher lows while Dow was making lower lows. That allowed us to take the NQ position and play right into this initial order block. Now we're seeing pretty aggressive retracements at the moment, and so, which was possible. You guys understand that the move to the upside was so aggressive. When we are taking buys, the buys can be for conservative exits as well. So yeah, I mean, we'll see how it rolls through. Now I know some of you are asking about metals. So let me pull up gold here real quick. See what gold is looking like. All right, so gold pulling up, continuing to make its move. 1 second, let me get to the right contract. There we go. So here we're seeing now gold still's got a little bit more room to run, at least for me, looking at this on the current contracts. So we can push a little bit higher before looking for any shorts. Yeah, we got a little bit more room. I think we can see this push up to right around 34.30. So right up into this zone. You see how he's had some resistance before this huge sweep. This to me gives a good risk reward. So seeing the market kind of get into this range. Then we see a about a 200 pip stop. It's really volatile right now, so this stop, in my opinion, isn't really too crazy. So yeah, say we give it some time, something like this is good. All right. Yeah, here we go. So looking for something like this with gold. And then in the meantime, we got NQ running. And guys, how are you all trading NQ right now? Are you holding buys? Did you stay out of the market? How's everyone positioned in this setup here? Did we wait for those below New York Open? Maybe you took it over here and you had a wider stop. How we're looking, guys? See right now, after it's kind of starting to squeeze here, and we're starting to see also this buildup of resistance over here. So this usually is creating more liquidity. So when there's enough sellers in here, we have a shot at seeing this pump again one more time. All right, let me check the chat. Let's go chat. Pero ¿por qué no opera desde un broker hard? No lo entiendo, nada fiable. ¿Desde un broker? Es porque estoy manejando ahorita varias cuentas, bro. Tengo varias cuentas aquí abiertas. Si es para que te sientas bien, igualmente no te estoy vendiendo nada. Pero ahorita estamos manejando una cuentecita. Entonces, unas varias. Pero no te preocupes, bro. Igualmente, como estamos operando futuros y los datos son muy distintos, hace una gran diferencia. So yeah, with the gold chart, so the gold chart looking different is because of the contract change. So if you look at this here, take a look here. If you look at the gold chart right there, right, and you zoom out, you took Dow. Why'd you take Dow, Bobby? So gold like this, so you're probably seeing gold like this, right? This is probably how you're seeing it. Maybe CFDs looks different. Puede ser que CFDs se vean así también. La diferencia es que con futuros y los contratos que cambian, aquí cambiamos el contrato. So when you switch to the contract to here, you're going to see the chart look a bit different. So this is where you see the difference in price action. So you see that it's actually trading a little bit lower. All right, let's see. MQ. Let's see if I can pull it up right over here. So we'll wait on this one. Right now, look at the liquidity building up over here. So check out MQ's liquidity. This squeeze is going to create a lot of volatility. We can't just assume that it's going to be in our favor, but right now we're starting to see this type of liquidity. So either it squeezes down, it could swipe down and then go up again, or it just decides to clear out basically all of this. So either way could be in our favor. So right now we're starting to see the sweep of the highs. So we could see this rally some more. And then this right now also, if you take a look at Dow is starting to also clear some of that. So it should be getting into here. Worst case, I think I'd say most conservative, we can kind of see the market get into this imbalance, I think, is what we can start to see here. And then we see the market also trading in this zone. So either or can happen at this level. Está bien, no te preocupes. How did you switch the contract? The contract switch happens here. So if you look at, so price is going to be different between CFDs and futures. So if you look at gold, right, the price is going to be here. CFDs and futures prices are always going to be different, okay? But when you're looking at this, to switch the contract, you see how they have an arrow right there? This is like the indication of a contract switch. Click that, and then go to here, GCQ. And then that will now take you to the present contract. So now that we've seen the fundamentals for today, right, now that we're seeing this, we have US dollar news happened. The next round that can be of significance here is going to be Powell. So Powell is speaking later today, and specifically it's a Federal Reserve's Board of Governors International Finance Division 75th anniversary conference. Jesus. So this here gonna give some talks about interest rates, etc., etc. So, these live conversations, these conferences, they're a pretty good excuse for volatility. So you could expect to see the market make some nice movement around this time. So definitely keep your eyes out on how the market is moving around during that speech, or before that speech even, just to get another clear sign of what's to come here. So at the moment, guys, one thing I am noticing, and I'm sure some of you are starting to see the same thing, we're starting to see how the market is starting to rip and squeeze here. NASDAQ struggling slightly more than Dow is, right? Dow right now really starting to push and kind of leading the momentum to the upside. So good bullish movement now that it swept that external liquidity. My question is going to be, is it going to just rebalance here? Or are we going to see the sweep of liquidity and get into this range now. Because now that we saw Dow clear this low, now that we saw this happen again, and I said in the beginning of the stream, you can go back to it, I said, because we're failing to get these higher highs, confirmations for buys within this range are not it. And as we use the divergence with with NQ, it made the difference. So right now, if you wanted to see, you know, conservative exits, then you can have this right here. Conservative exit would be Dow, because now Dow is trading right around this range. So if you wanted a conservative exit, I can see it definitely working out around these times. Considering that we had basically no demand over here, it was just a quick below, you know, right down and up. I do see us breaking through and getting to this liquidity. At this point though, if you had a pretty good entry with NQ below that New York open range, then I mean your trade is looking pretty decent at the moment, a little under 2RR. So right now sitting at about 1.7. I think the market working its way into that 2R range is still pretty likely. So yeah, let's see it happen, folks. Huh? Alright, let's see the stream. Yeah, exactly, Mateo. Since I'm trading futures, that's exactly why. Alright. I know it was pretty chaotic while we got the news event and the drop, because I was dealing with all of my own accounts and all my stuff. So yeah, curious to see how it went for everyone else in here, or how it's going. So look at that right here, right? This is that previous level. Exactly how I mentioned, the market does get to these zones and tends to have a little bit of a struggle. So that's why these are good exits for conservative. These are good conservative exits, high probability exits, and it's common for you to see a rejection like this. However, if you are going with momentum, then usually it's kind of just like a little pit stop, and then the market ramps up again and makes the next moves. So I would say that I would feel a bit confident going into just kind of holding this a little bit further along. At least I am. That might not necessarily be what your plan has to be. So remember, you're here to trade your plan, right? You're here to lock it in for yourself. So if you have a 2R as an exit for NQ, then follow that. You know, maybe as soon as it hits this, then you're done and you call it. If you're here to trade the technical side of things, then and you have, you know, a different approach to your exits, then definitely feel free to follow that as well. For me, I'm gonna look to take my money once Dow takes on this liquidity up here. So this is my target. Once Dow gets up here, then I'm taking my exit on NQ. Alright. Are you going to short Dow after it clears liquidity? Originally, that was my thought process, was to short. Now that, because like, okay, take a look at this. Now we're seeing this, right? Now we're seeing Dow push pretty aggressively. So I'm not sure. Honestly, I'm not sure yet, because we still are struggling to get lower lows. So when we see this over here, right? If we see the clearance of these highs, so now we're looking at the differentiation between here, right? We're seeing the divergence. So here was the high at around, what is this, 830, whereas we're seeing the difference is prices trading up here. So for example, if we start getting above price action over here first on NQ, then I may consider shorting down. So I kind of want to see the differentiation between these two things. If I can get that, then for sure I'm down for the cause. But if, let's say for example, Dow starts to rip way beyond and just faster up into this range, then I'm not necessarily looking to short. So as of right now, I'm kind of gonna just leave it and let the market kind of do its thing. That's going to be kind of the biggest indicator for me. So at the moment, for example, if we're looking at, let's say right now we're seeing NQ play into this 850 candle, and if we see Dow is playing into 845 candle, so it's already pushing a bit more strongly. It's already going even beyond. So getting if for example we get above here on Dow first, then it's kind of showing me, okay, not necessarily the bear like it was originally. You know what I mean? All right. Cool. All right, so let's leave that here. We'll let the market keep doing its thing. Let's check in on gold again. Gold's got a bit to go. The other thing that we were looking at, right, was Australian. And let me know if you guys have any other setups you want me to look at. Australian here has been a lot slower on the move, which is up in this range. I thought I had an alert right there, but it's not necessarily showing up right now. So even here, we see that shift to the upside before the market drops. Liquidity is set. So now we're waiting for the market to work its way down to here. But this feels a lot better because we've already seen the clearance of all of this liquidity. Then we're seeing it happen over here. So this is pretty similar to gold, you know, where we're looking at, it's got a significant amount that it still needs to go and push higher for. So yeah, we'll kind of just keep waiting there. Ya entraste y saliste. Okay, perfect. Felicidades, Mauricio, ahí. Disfrutando. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, there's really not too much more to go over. We're seeing a lot of more momentum with NZD, Euro. Están viendo mucha más tendencia alcista con Euro, NZD, en comparación al australiano, que se está moviendo hacia arriba, pero más lento. Eso ayuda mucho para esta oportunidad de ventas con el australiano en esta zona. So remember, with your entry model and how you're looking to short, I like looking at a short on AUD USD here. And I'm looking to take a position. You know how we've seen the market reject over here in the past? This is kind of the highest where we saw the market reverse from. So these are the zones that look interesting for me as well. Previous levels of resistance, tend to work pretty well when the market comes back over here, and that shows us also some key positions over here as well. So anywhere in the zone, obviously take your pick for your short. If you want to tighten your stop up a bit because of just seeing efficient price action over here, you know, that can go ahead and help with the risk reward factor of this opportunity here. So something like this makes sense, and then targeting liquidity looks solid to me. And depending on how this goes, this might go below all of this, because there's just a ton, just so much happening in this range across the board. Muchísima liquidez con todo esto, pero el primer punto aquí para buscar ventas, para las salidas si son en esta área aquí abajo. Okay, well, yeah, any other questions? Yeah, you guys just let me know. Let me know how you're looking at the markets themselves. For those of you that wanted to see the execution, some of you were interested in seeing that. Let me try to find my shit here. So yeah, here are the orders. Oh my god, how do I do this? So this is how I ended up taking this position. All right, this is how I ended up taking this position here on the Apex account. So it was right there. Let me see if this works. Huh? What the heck? Why is this thing lagging out? What the? What's happening? Oh my god. What just happened? The screen went blurry. That's good. This is good. I need to close this trade. This thing is bugging out. Alright guys. Well, let me figure that out. Real quick, because this, I need to be able to close this, and it's not for some reason. It's tweaking. Okay, here we go. I think it's better. There you go. All right. So yeah, here are the, because remember mine lagged out. What the? All right. I guess I'm not meant to show you guys for whatever reason. Bueno, pues ahí les quería enseñar, pero no se hace borroso la pantalla. No sé si es el cambio a diferente pantalla que no me está dejando. Oh, whatever. Anyways, yeah, it's for some reason tweaking, but it is what it is. So my exit, like I mentioned already, it's going to be focused on this. So I want to see Dow get to these highs, and then once it hits that liquidity, I'm out on my NASDAQ trade. So we're not too far. I think we're about like 50 points away from getting to this zone here, about 70 points away from getting up into this area. So just a bit more, and we call it a day. Right now, though, if you look at NQ is rebalancing really well. It's filled the higher level. So if you look at this on NQ price action, it's filled this really nicely. Alright, yeah, so that's playing out pretty well. Let's see if we get another push higher alongside the move that it should be making with Dow. So if Dow keeps pushing, we should be able to see NQ push. I think it looks like it can break above, maybe into the zone, maybe even above the high. But now that this has become efficient, this is a great place for exits. If you're under the belief that I'm in, that Dow can keep pushing till the